Let us open a highly critical, physically devastating medical case history that arrived in my trauma clinic on a quiet Monday afternoon. The file belongs to a 71-year-old grandmother and retired university registrar named Evelyn, who traveled to see me from Boston, Massachusetts. Evelyn was an exceptionally proud, fiercely independent senior. She managed her large two-story colonial home, cooked daily, and took absolute care of her own domestic chores. She believed her physical mobility was completely secure for the next 20 years, but her entire physical sovereignty was shattered inside her own residential basement in a matter of 2 seconds. Evelyn was handling her weekly family laundry. Her home was engineered like millions of traditional households across New England, with the heavy washing machine and front-loading dryer unit installed side by side inside a narrow, low-ceilinged basement utility room. Because she was in a slight hurry to finish her chores before her family arrived for dinner, Evelyn executed an automated, deeply ingrained physical compensation that millions of older adults across the United States perform every single week without realizing they are stepping directly into a mechanical trap. She bent deeply forward from her waist to scoop up a massive, heavy wicker basket overflowing with wet, undried towels and bed sheets weighing a total of nearly 30 pounds. Hugging the dense basket tightly against her stomach, she did not move her feet to reposition her foundation. Instead, keeping her feet firmly glued flat onto the hard concrete basement floor, Evelyn violently twisted her entire upper torso, rib cage and lower lumbar spine 90 degrees to the left in a rapid, jerky motion to fling the heavy wet laundry into the open door of the dryer unit. The exact millisecond Evelyn shifted her torso into the apex of that deep twist while bearing that 30-pound wet load, a silent, catastrophic structural and neurological emergency occurred. She did not feel a simple muscle strain. Instead, she heard an audible, sickening pop deep inside her lower back, followed instantly by a sudden, freezing wave of numbness that paralyzed her right ankle. Her foot immediately dropped completely flaccid, her leg collapsed underneath her weight, and she dropped heavily onto the hard concrete floor of the basement, trapped at the bottom of her stairs, unable to stand or walk, requiring emergency first responder evacuation and urgent neurosurgical intervention. In my spinal surgery books, we classify this highly volatile mechanism of injury as the flexion-rotation lumbar disc extrusion. Most seniors look at this twisting method of moving laundry from the washer to the dryer and view it as a completely normal, efficient, and harmless movement strategy to save time. They tell themselves, "I've been doing the laundry this way for 50 years. It's just a simple turn. I don't need to shuffle my feet just to move a basket." But today, under the unyielding clinical guidance of Dr. Arthur, I am stripping away the illusion of domestic safety to deliver a profound, forensic biomechanical warning. Bending your waist and twisting your lower back under a heavy load inside a tight basement after age 70 is an incredibly dangerous structural error. You are actively forcing your delicate L5-S1 intervertebral disc into a mechanical dead zone of absolute rotational shear stress, short-circuiting the exact neural conduits that control your foot drop reflexes and setting your entire lifespan mobility up for a sudden, permanent collapse. Today, we are going to conduct a deep scientific investigation into why Evelyn's body failed her, and more importantly, I will teach you the comprehensive 7-drill neural workaround to permanently protect your spine from household destruction. To truly understand how an ordinary household chore like transferring wet towels can instantly cause a senior's leg nerves to drop completely offline, we must conduct a forensic anatomical investigation into the structural physics of the lowest junction of the human spine, the L5-S1 segment, and the tiny stabilizer muscles known as the multifidus. The L5 vertebra sits at the absolute base of your lumbar column, resting directly on top of the S1 sacral bone, which forms the unyielding back wall of your pelvis. This single joint segment is the primary mechanical crossroads of the entire human body. It bears over 60% of your total upper body weight, and absorbs the impact shock of every step you take. When you bend straight forward from your hips while keeping your back straight, your spine can handle the load cleanly because your gluteal muscles and hamstrings act as powerful mechanical counterweights. However, the human lumbar column possesses an absolute structural limitation. Its design allows for almost zero natural axial rotation. The facet joints at the L5-S1 segment are arranged vertically like interlocking steel tracks, engineered specifically to block your lower back from twisting more than a tiny 1 to 2 degrees. True twisting is supposed to occur exclusively higher up in your thoracic spine and lower down through your ball and socket hip joints. Now, let us reconstruct the mechanical nightmare that occurred inside Evelyn's body when she twisted with that heavy laundry basket. When she bent forward and allowed her lower back to round, she placed her L5-S1 disc into deep flexion, stretching the outer protective ring, the annulus fibrosus, to its maximum structural limit. When she then violently twisted her torso 90 degrees to the left while keeping her feet frozen onto the concrete, she forced the L5 vertebra to rotate against the static S1 bone. This interaction creates an immediate kinetic catastrophe known as Flexion-Rotation Shear Stress. As the spine twisted under the 30-pound load, the deep, microscopic stabilizer muscles that bridge your vertebrae, the multifidus muscles, were instantly stretched past their cellular breaking point and entered a state of acute tearing spasm. Without the support of the multifidus, the immense twisting force passed entirely into the pre-stretched L5-S1 disc. The pressure inside the disc skyrocketed past 300 pounds per square inch. The tough outer fibers snapped like over-tightened guitar strings, and the internal jelly-like core, the nucleus pulposus, exploded violently backward and to the right, exiting the disc column entirely. This is a severe neurosurgical emergency. Emerging directly from behind the L5-S1 junction is the massive S1 nerve root, a primary component of the sciatic nerve network. This specific nerve conduit is the sole electrical power cord responsible for supplying motor current to your calves and the deep muscles that control ankle plantar flexion and dorsiflexion, the exact mechanism that allows your brain to lift your toes and push your foot into the ground cleanly during a walking stride. The exact millisecond Evelyn's disc ruptured outward, it slammed directly into the S1 nerve root with immense mechanical force, triggering an immediate event known as acute conduction block neuropraxia. The physical pressure completely crushed the nerve fibers, stopping the transmission of all electrical action potentials from her brain to her right lower limb. It is the exact structural equivalent of taking a massive pair of steel cutters and snipping the main power cable to a motor. In an instant, the electrical current stopped. Evelyn's right, Kung-Chun front and rear muscles lost 100% of their tone, triggering an immediate condition known as clinical foot drop. Her ankle became completely flaccid, unable to support her weight or respond to her brain's commands. Because her body was locked in an asymmetrical twist on hard, unyielding basement concrete, her structural radar was offline. She collapsed heavily onto her side, fracturing her shoulder and leaving her balance architecture completely shattered at the bottom of the stairs. Today, we are going to manually reprogram this dangerous household movement pattern. I am going to teach you how to treat your shoulders, your chest, and your pelvis as one single, locked structural vault whenever you handle loads. We will completely eliminate axial lumbar twisting from your household utility routine, ensuring your L5-S1 disc remains perfectly uncompressed, your sciatic nerve conduits stay wide open, and your lower limbs receive an uninterrupted current of maximum neurological power every time you do the laundry. We will now systematically master the precise clinical movement choreography and the advanced neurological drills designed to permanently shield your L5-S1 disc from household shear stress. If you are over the age of 70, you must study these mechanical parameters with absolute, non-negotiable precision. The core masterpiece, the three-phase hip-hinge and piston-pivot step, the laundry twist cure. This is the #1 physical movement workaround engineered to completely replace the basement laundry twist, keeping your lower back perfectly flat and forcing your hip joints to handle the rotation. The setup phase. When standing in front of your washing machine, position your feet wide, slightly past hip-width apart. Never stand with your feet squeezed together. Squeeze your lower abdominal wall to 20% activation to prepare your pelvic brace. The action. Phase 1. The clean hip hinge lift. When bending down to grab your laundry basket, do not round your back. Keep your spine perfectly straight like a wooden board. Push your hips backward through space as if trying to tap a wall behind you with your buttocks. Bend your knees slightly. Grasp the laundry basket handles tightly and squeeze your buttocks to press straight up through your heels into a tall stance. Hold the basket close to your belt buckle. The action. Phase 2. The non-negotiable piston pivot. Instead of twisting your back to reach the dryer, keep your spine and pelvis locked together like a steel vault. Lift the heel of your right foot slightly off the floor, press your weight onto the ball of that foot, and step your entire body 90 degrees to the left by moving your feet. Your shoulders and your hip bones must turn at the exact same time, at the exact same speed. The action. Phase 3. The linear squat delivery. Once your body is facing the dryer door squarely, execute a clean, miniature straight-down squat to lower the laundry basket. Never bend your spine sideways or twist your shoulders while dropping the load. The blueprint schedule. Execute this 3-phase hip hinge and piston pivot step every single time you transfer items between appliances, clean countertops, or load dishwasher racks. Treat it as a strict surgical safety mandate. Supporting Protocol 1. The Seated Isometric Multifidus Wall Press, Spinal Stability Shield. This drill actively trains the deep, microscopic multifidus muscles of your lower back to fire symmetrically, rebuilding the protective spinal brace required to prevent disc protrusion. The setup. Sit perfectly tall on a firm chair, positioned exactly 6 inches away from a smooth wall. Cross your arms flat over your chest. The execution. Take a deep diaphragmatic breath into your lower belly. As you exhale slowly, use your core muscles to gently rotate your upper shoulders 15 degrees to the right until your right elbow touches the wall behind you. Now, press your elbow backward into the wall with 50% of your maximum strength, while using your hip muscles to force your pelvis to stay completely unmoving on the chair. Hold this intense static lock for 10 full seconds, keeping your breath moving through your nose. Release slowly and repeat on the opposite side. The variables. Complete 6 maximum 10-second holds on each side daily to eliminate lower back muscular weakness. Supporting Protocol 2. The Extended Core-Braced Pallof Press, Anti-Rotation Anchor Matrix. This protocol trains your central nervous system to instantly resist sudden, unexpected twisting forces, ensuring your lower back stays locked in place when lifting unbalanced loads. The setup. Anchor a light resistance loop band to a stable door handle at chest height. Stand tall with your right side facing the door, holding the band handle with both hands pressed against your chest. The execution. Take a step away from the door until you feel a distinct lateral pull trying to twist your torso toward the handle. Bracing your abdominal core tight and locking your feet parallel, slowly extend both of your arms straight out in front of your chest. Do not let the band twist your body. Maintain absolute vertical alignment. Hold the extended position for 3 full seconds, then pull your hands back to your chest. The variables. Complete 12 controlled extension cycles on each side daily to build an anti-rotation shield around your L5-S1 disc. Supporting Protocol 3. The Standing Single-Leg Acetabular Pivot Hip Rotation Booster. This drill breaks up calcified scar tissue inside your ball and socket hip joints, maximizing your safe range of hip rotation so your lower back doesn't have to twist. The setup. Stand tall with your left hand resting flat on a kitchen counter for safety. Balance entirely on your left leg, lifting your right foot 1 inch off the ground. The execution. Keep your torso perfectly vertical. Now, consciously rotate your entire pelvis and torso to the right, over your standing left thigh bone, allowing your left hip joint to swivel deeply. Hold for 2 seconds, then slowly rotate your pelvis back to center. The standing knee must stay straight but unlocked. The variables. Perform 15 slow, smooth internal hip rotations on each leg daily. Supporting Protocol 4. The closed chain gluteal bridge stomp, posterior chain anchor. This daytime drill builds explosive endurance inside your gluteus maximus, providing the heavy pelvic drive required to lift heavy objects without straining your vertebrae. The setup. Lie flat on your back on a comfortable exercise mat. Knees bent at 90 degrees, feet flat on the floor hip-width apart. The execution. Press your lower back flat into the mat to tilt your pelvis correctly. Squeeze your buttocks as tightly as humanly possible and drive your heels downward into the floor to lift your hips straight up into the air until your thighs and torso form a straight line. Hold this peak bridge for 3 full seconds while driving your heels downward with maximum force, then lower slowly. The variables. Complete 3 sets of 15 controlled bridge stomps daily. Supporting Protocol 5. The standing multi-directional proprioceptive step. Gait landing calibrator. This protocol trains your foot-to-brain sensory network to maintain absolute knee and ankle stability when stepping turning angles on hard concrete floor surfaces. The setup. Stand tall next to a heavy counter, keeping one hand hovering just a millimeter away from the wood surface for security. Balance on your left leg. The execution. Take a slow, deliberate 90-degree step out to the left with your right foot, landing firmly on your heel. Shift your full body weight onto that right foot, checking that your posture stays completely vertical and your knee does not wobble. Return to center. Repeat by stepping backward 45 degrees. The variables. Complete 10 multi-directional transition steps on each leg daily. Supporting Protocol 6. The tibialis anterior wall pulse matrix, foot drop prevention drill. Strengthening the front compartment of the shin ensures your brain has maximum motor current to pull your toes upward, completely protecting your gait from foot drop and staircase stumbles. The setup. Stand with your upper back flat against a smooth basement wall, heels positioned exactly 8 inches away from the baseboard. The execution. Keeping your knees completely locked and straight, lift the front of both feet up into empty space, as high as humanly possible, pulling your toes tightly toward your shins. Hold this peak contraction for 3 full seconds, feeling the deep structural burn in your front chân muscles, then lower slowly over a 2-second count. The variables. Complete 25 controlled repetitions daily to preserve your landing brakes. We have now conducted an exhaustive, comprehensive forensic investigation into the precise medical mechanics of senior utility transitions, lumbar shear stress, and sciatic nerve root conduction pathways. We have unmasked the hidden everyday hazard, the flexion-rotation laundry twist that drives severe, acute mechanical blackout inside your leg muscles and pushes your L5-S1 intervertebral disc to a point of catastrophic explosion. We have mapped out the precise 7-drill neural workaround required to shield your spine and secure your balance. But as your physician, I must speak to you with absolute, unyielding candor. The laws of human biomechanics and skeletal degradation are completely merciless. They do not care about your convenience. They do not care about how many loads of laundry you have left to finish, and they do not rest for a single second. Every single time you bend your waist over a heavy basket, keep your feet frozen on the floor, and allow your lower back to violently twist to reach an appliance, you are actively signing the blueprint for your own physical destruction. You are playing a dangerous, high-stakes game of chance with your sciatic nerve roots and your long-term independence. Therefore, you must treat this 3-phase hip-hinge and piston-pivot step sequence and your daily anti-rotation core protocols not as an optional domestic tip, but as a mandatory, life-saving medical prescription. Just as you would never dare to skip your vital heart, blood pressure, or life-preserving diabetic medications, you must never allow your skeleton to manipulate weights without utilizing its strongest, most balanced parallel pathways. This tiny investment of physical discipline inside your basement utility room is your ultimate, unshakable insurance policy against emergency neurosurgical wards, permanent nerve damage, and the tragic, terrifying onset of a wheelchair-dependent lifestyle. Make an unyielding vow inside your mind starting tonight. The moment you handle a laundry basket, your back hinges straight, your knees soft squat, your feet actively step to pivot your entire body as a single unit, and you move with absolute parallel leg sovereignty. Turn your daily household chores into a bulletproof exercise in longevity. I want to remind you of an extraordinary, deeply comforting biological reality. Your lumbar ligaments, your multifidus muscles, and your central nervous system possess an absolutely magnificent, lifelong capacity for structural adaptation and neuroplastic repair. Your body is hardwired by nature to respond beautifully to targeted structural challenges, regardless of whether you are 70, 80, or 90 years old. Aging does not mean you are condemned to live like a prisoner in your own home, terrified of your stairs or your laundry room. You are never too old to drop the twist, level your spinal pressures, and master your balance. You hold the precise clinical blueprint right now to rewire your nervous system, protect your S1 nerve roots, and reclaim your power. Stop letting a simple daily laundry habit or the subtle onset of lower back stiffness dictate the boundaries of your physical freedom. Do not step back from the world. Shield the delicate discs inside your lumbar spine, unlock the rotational tracking inside your massive hip joints, ground your parallel heel drive, and navigate every room in your home with an upright posture, complete balance, absolute confidence, and total unshakable sovereignty over your physical freedom and your lifespan trajectory. If this forensic biomechanical investigation shed light on your movement journey and brought true value to your life today, please take a moment to support our channel's mission by hitting that like button. Share this vital video immediately with your spouse, your close friends, your neighbors, or anyone over 70 who handles their own domestic chores and deserves to stay strong, safe, and entirely independent for all the golden years to come. Let us build a global community of resilient, unshakable seniors together. Thank you for investing your valuable time with me today. I am Dr. Arthur. Protect your spine, move with absolute power, and I will see you in our next Clinical Health Blueprint video.